Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, just so you know, Candy Bowl is over there. I did print out a few of our schedules for the remainder of the season, so grab one of those if you are interested. Now, this week, my name is Alison. I was the director of these shows. Oh, this month. All right, you guys. They're already picking on me. But anyway, this month I was the director, and I might take roles away from John right now for being mean. But anyway, if this comes together tonight, it is going to be heaven blessed by the old-time radio gods. Our first week of rehearsal, we had a blizzard and below 40, minus 40, minus 45 wind chills. So we had a few people who couldn't come or couldn't get here. Second rehearsal. Now take it, we only do 3. Second rehearsal.
2.
And the show. 2 in the show. Second rehearsal and final rehearsal. We have an ice storm. We have a few who can't get here. We had one of our cast members have to back out last minute, but for very good reason. Some of you who are our regulars will know Brad Zuro is up here, and every once in a while we have his son, Desmond Zuro, also performs with us when we have younger kid roles. Desmond is in the state bowling championship for Illinois. Yay. So Brad unfortunately had to back out, but we're really excited that he had to. And today he had his first matches, and he did move up to the next level. So he will be competing for the state championship tomorrow. So everybody give good bowling wishes to the Zuro family and Desmond. All right, so tonight, also, just in my description, we had one of our cast members who didn't make it to either rehearsal, and not for fault of his own. And I'm not going to tell you who it is to put him on the spot, but he will be looking at the script for the first time this evening. So if we're really bad, give us a break. All right, we are doing 3 shows today, and it's not going to be much longer than our regular program of 2 shows. We found a really funny Stan Freberg skit that we wanted to add in there. But our first one tonight actually was asked by one of our regular audience members that if we could do this, it would be great. And he picked Suspense's 3 Skeleton Keys. Now, a lot of people, it was very famous, but a lot of people don't know it by the name 3 Skeleton Key. They know it as the story about the rats. So it is a super cool show. A little bit about Suspense. It was a radio drama series. It was broadcast on CBS Radio from 1940s through 1962. It was one of the premier drama programs of the golden age of radio, and it was subtitled Radio's Outstanding Theater of Thrills. It did focus on a lot of suspense thrillers, and actually had quite a few famous actors at the time were the guest appearances in there. There were approximately 945 episodes, and 900 of them are still in existence today. Okay, now 3 Skeleton Key, it's the plot line of 3 men who are working in a lighthouse off the coast of the French Guiana, and the lighthouse is dubbed 3 Skeleton Key. But that was actually based on an actual true story. It was a tragedy that happened many years before about 3 convicts that escaped from Cayenne. They became shipwrecked on that rock and actually died of hunger and starvation and died. So it is still actually known as 3 Skeleton Key. So without further ado, Vincent Price played this on when they did the remake back in Suspense. Let us bring you Suspense's Vincent Price version of 3 Skeleton Key.
Wrong music.
That wasn't very scary, Marty.
Suspense, and the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
Among the great classics of radio drama, none is more memorable than Three Skeleton Key, although few who have heard it would remember it by that title. To them, it is simply that story about the rats, and that it is an unforgettable experience in horror. We repeat it now because we can't help ourselves. We like to scare as well as you like to be scared. Listen now, as Vincent Price stars in Three Skeleton Key, which begins in just a moment.
And now, Three Skeleton Key, starring Vincent Price, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Try and picture this place. A gray, tapering cylinder welded by iron rods and concrete to the key itself. A bare black rock, 150 feet long, maybe 40 wide. That's at low tide. At high tide, just the light rising 110 feet straight up out of the ocean. And all about it, the churning water, gray, green, scum, dappled, warm as soup and swarming with gigantic bat-like devilfish, great violet schools of Portuguese man-of-war, and yes, sharks, the big ones, 15-footers. And as if this wasn't enough, there was a hot, dank, rotten, smelling wind that came at us day and night off the jungle swamps of the mainland. A wind that smelled like death. Set in the base of the light was a watertight bronze door. And in you go. And up, yes, up and round, past the tanks of oil and the coils of rope, cases of wicks, racks of lanterns, sacks of spuds and cartons and cans, and up and round over the light storeroom was the food storeroom. And over the food storeroom was the bunk room where the three of us slept. And over the bunk room was the living and cooking room. And over the living and cooking room is the light. She was a beauty, balanced like a ballerina on a glistening steel axle of her rotary mechanism. My companions in the light were an odd and opposite pair. Big Louis, the head man who hardly ever talked, and Auguste, who never stopped. It wasn't a bad life, especially at night when the others were snoring in their sacks 2 levels down. Usually there was nothing to see across the starlit water, for the most ships knew better than to come closer to Three Skeleton Key. But one night, gazing out across the phosphorescent combers, I noticed something show for a second in the revolving light. Something far off. A 3-master, a big one, about half a mile off and coming down out of the northwest. Coming straight for us. I went over to the gallery door and yelled down, "Louis! Louis!"
Huh? What is it?
"Ship ahead for the reefs."
I'm coming up. Right up.
I had the glasses out now. I couldn't read her name, but I could see her quite plainly. All sails set. The foam creaming away under her bow, her beautiful lines. But why didn't she turn? Every time our light turned, it hit her with the glare of day.
Ship? Where?
Northwest. The light will touch her in a moment.
Well, can't she see us?
Look at her. She just keeps coming on.
Those squareheads.
What is it? What is it?
Watch, northwest.
Ah, I know what it is.
What?
The Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman. She is derelict. That's it.
Derelict?
Derelict? Abandoned? Crew left her for some reason or another. But instead of sinking, she's gone on running before every wind.
No, she'll not run long. Not with these reefs to break her up.
A beautiful ship. Now, why would men leave a beautiful ship like that? This is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
What?
Here, take my glasses. They're stronger than yours.
All right. What is it that you're... I had to focus, and then my breath froze in my throat. The decks were swarming with a dark brown carpet that looked like gigantic fungus, but undulating. And on the masts and yards were hundreds, no, thousands, no, millions, I don't know, an inestimable number of tremendous rats. We stood there, the three of us, frozen in terror, peering through our binoculars as the rat-covered ship gracefully, relentlessly bore down upon the quay, until at last, with a horrible certainty splintering and grinding upon the rocks, she ran aground.
The rats! A look on the water, like a carpet.
They're swimming.
Sure they're swimming. Those are ship's rats.
But they're swimming for the rocks.
Oh, the door below, it's open.
Well, come on! And down we went, racing down the stone stairs, taking them 3 and 4 at a time. Scared? You bet we were scared.
August, you get the windows. Maybe they can climb. We don't know.
All right, Chief. But hurry, hurry.
Look, you see them?
No. Oh, yes, I do. Up at the other end of the rock.
Look at them.
Millions!
Ah, they smell us. Here they come.
Ugh.
Well, close the door.
I can't. It's stuck.
Here, let me. Move! Move!
Ah, we made it.
Holy, that was close.
Look, one got in. Look, there.
Well, get him.
Watch it. Kick him.
What a brute.
He was as big as a tomcat, bigger, and his eyes were wild and red, his teeth long and sharp and yellow. He went for us, starving, ravenous, and we fought him. Fought that one rat all over the room. It was, believe me, I don't exaggerate, it was like fighting a panther.
I got him.
We'd better get aloft.
Yeah.
As we ran up the winding staircase, we passed the tiny windows of the various levels, and at every one was a thick, wriggling, screaming curtain of brown fur. The air of the gallery was thick and fetid with the stink of them. The light was dim, brown, filtered through the crawling mass that swarmed over the glass all about us. We couldn't see the sky. Nothing. Nothing but them, their red eyes, their claws, their wriggling, hairy snouts, and their teeth. The rats. They screamed and howled and threw themselves against the glass. They were starving, and we three, we stood very quietly, very, very quietly in the center of the glass room under our beautiful light, and we waited.
What can we do? What can we do, Chief?
Take it easy. Take it easy.
I can't. I just can't.
It won't do any good to stand here and shake.
That's right.
Oh, go away. Go away. Do you hear me? Go away this instant.
They won't go away. Not until...
Finish it, Chief. Not until what?
Not until they've been fed.
All day long, we sat there in silent horror, watching the rising mass. trying to reach us through the glass, and then at last it began to get dark. One side of the room was lit a soft filtered red. Sunset through the rats. Oh, very pretty. I set the wicks, checked my fuel, and then lit the lamp. It caught them, lit them in their gigantic wriggling web of pale, hairless bellies, twitching red tails, bright eyes, and then I started the rotary motor. The light drove them mad. As she swung slowly and smoothly about, she blinded them in the fierce stabbing bar of light, moving continually about, ever turning, ever touching, ever moving around and around. And they, twitching and shuddering, eyes flaming when they were struck by the light, blinking and twinkling like the stars of hell. You must make the most of any situation to endure it, and we found a way to entertain ourselves by teasing the rats. Sounds crazy, horrible. It was fun. We would get right up against the glass and make faces at them. It drove them crazy. They would scratch away, trying to get at our eyes. Louis was even cuter about it. He'd pull a piece of bread out of his pocket and press it against the glass. The rats would scramble into a solid ball, biting each other, clustering like grapes from time to time. A whole knot of them would slip and fall the 110 feet to the surf below.
Look at the sharks.
They're eating them.
Those sharks are our friends. Here. I'll get another bunch together. Here, my beauties. That's it. Pile up. Kill each other, eh? There they go.
Auguste joined in too. Very ingenious, Auguste. He learned that if he spread-eagled himself against the glass, they'd bunch and bundle against his figure, and then he'd leap back.
Well, look, my portrait in rats.
I went off watch at about midnight, and I was just falling asleep when I became conscious of a new sound. I couldn't figure it at first. I got up, lit the lamp, and went to the window. Even as I looked out, I saw one of the panes begin to sag in. They were eating the wood away. Louis, come quick!
What is it?
They found a way in. I held the glass with my hand. Now they were all going crazy, and assured of the success of this maneuver, were all nibbling away at the frame. Louis ran below and then returned with a large sheet of tin. We spread it against the window and hammered it in place. Even as we did so, we felt the heavy bodies thudding against the other side as the window gave way.
There. That ought to hold. If it doesn't, we're done for.
Rats can't eat tin.
No, they can't.
What was that?
I don't know. It came from below.
The storeroom window.
They're in. They're swarming up the steps.
Drop the trap!
Right.
2 of them got in.
Let's go after them.
We didn't have to go after them. They came at us. I leaped to one side and grabbed a marlin spike, swung and smashed one in midair.
Oh.
I whirled to see Louis with the other. It had ripped his hand open, and the blood was pouring out all over the place. He held his hand aloft and kicked at the snarling rat. I stepped and swung and got him.
Oh, my hand. He got my hand.
That's both of them, Louis. I'll get you something to tie that up.
Bleeding. Look at it. My blood. I'm bleeding.
Don't worry about it, Louis. Here, I'll wind this kerchief around it. It'll be okay.
Blood.
There. That's not bad, just the flesh. And then I became conscious of a new sound. They were gnawing their way through the wooden trap door. I watched the planks, fascinated. And even as I did, it began to give way, and a bristling, whiskery nose showed through. Let's go! The next level was the living quarters and kitchen. I slammed the trap door. But it too was wood.
Oh, my blood. What are we going to do?
I don't know. They'll be through this one in a minute.
The gallery. The trapdoor in the gallery is steel.
Good, come on! Oh, we made it. We lay across the trapdoor, exhausted, while below us the rats took over the entire tower. I could hear them howling and fighting over our food supply, our water, our leather. And all about us, the others screamed and glared in at us, swaying in a tangled mass, hypnotized by the ever-turning light. By morning, the air in the little room was horrible. Until now, we'd been getting air from the tower below. Now that was sealed off, and so was our food and water. We lay exhausted, panting, waiting, and the hours crawled on. I was almost dozing from fatigue when I saw a sight that brought me to my feet.
Would you like to come in, my beauties? Would you? I hold the powers of life and death, and I can let you in, you know.
Auguste was standing by the glass, and in one hand he held a big wrench. He was tapping the glass gently, not quite hard enough to break it. I eased myself to my feet and slowly, very slowly, tiptoed toward him.
All I have to do is tap just a little harder and...
So there I was, a lunatic and a coward for company. And all about us, watching our little drama, the rats. The following day we lay thirst-tormented, starving, waiting. And the following night I again tended the light, but the small supply of spare wicking we kept in the gallery had become exhausted, and quite suddenly, at about midnight, the light went out. There was nothing I could do. Wicks were stored 3 levels below. Nothing I could do. Nothing. From time to time, I'd strike a match to see the clock. And when I did, it lit up the million red eyes about us, all about us, watching, waiting. Below, it had grown quiet. They'd cleaned us out, and now they too were waiting. All waiting. And then the rats, quite suddenly, was silent. And then I heard it. And then I saw the sky and the stars. The rats were gone. I went to the glass. Out there on the water, a small freighter, a banana boat, showing a few lights, came softly and innocently toward us. A light was out. They didn't know. I wanted to open the window and call out to them to warn them somehow, but I was afraid. What if the rats were hiding from me, tricking me? So I waited. She grounded very softly on a reef not 200 yards from the quay. grounded so gently that the man playing the cornet, he was a passenger, a crewman off watch. He didn't even stop playing. They tried washing her back off. Now, I could have told them to save their fuel. The tide was rising. They could have floated her free. And I waited. That's it. That's the story. The sun came up and there wasn't a rat on the whole quay. Every last one of that terrible army had deserted us, gone back to sea on their new ship. Auguste? Insane asylum. He never recovered. And Louis, they took him to Cayenne, where he died of blood poisoning from his bite. Life on Three Skeleton Key isn't bad these days, but sometimes when I see a strange vessel approaching, I get a little nervous. Can you blame me? Somewhere on that sea, there's a little banana boat without a crew. That is, without a human crew.
Suspense, in which Vincent Price starred in William N. Robeson's production of Three Skeleton Key, written by George Tudose, adapted for Suspense by James Poe. In just a moment, the names of the supporting players and a word about next week's story of Suspense. Supporting Vincent Price in Three Skeleton Key were Ben Wright and Lawrence Dobkin. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
And now for our cast. Let's hear it for our announcer, Kathy Juarez. Auguste was played by Jay Summerfield. Big Louie was Andre Dixon. The Vincent Price of our very own Radio Players group playing Gene, Mark Fazio. And one of our most important parts of the show, the rats, and all of the other amazing sound effects, of course, was our very own Marty McNulty. If you want to take a quick stand up to stretch those legs, we'll begin our second show of our triple feature in just a minute.